Today I'm going to be explaining to you guys every thought process of every move as a 2000 rated self-taught player. So we're going to demonstrate this by 10-minute games. And yeah, just like I said, I'm going to show you all kind of my thought process and why I do every move I do. So let's start off the game here. We're going against a 2031 rated opponent. I'm 2036 rated right now. And I like to start my games off with this D4 move. It's pretty flexible and you can kind of transition it into a lot of different openings. So a lot of times you're going to see the knight here or D5, the two most common moves. Against D5, I like to play this Black Mardymer Gambit that we can still go into via this knight move, but basically it goes D4, D5, and you actually play E4, gambiting the pawn. And there's a lot of tactics against that if they take, and if you check out some of my other games, you can kind of see how I'm able to win games in that line. But against knight to f6, I like to just bring my knight out to match and kind of fight for this central square. If they allow me to push e4 here, a lot of times they'll push d5 to stop that. Then I transition to the Black Mardymer Gambit. But in this line, they push e6, preparing e5. But I'm just going to go ahead and take full control of the center. And if they push e5, transition this into a French game. But yeah, guys, if you guys haven't been here before, welcome. I just started this channel, so trying to grow and make fun videos and also educational videos. I like to play fun lines to where it's, not the same 10 moves every game, Make people actually think, play chess, and sacrifice pieces, and I feel like that's the reason everyone plays chess in the first place. So if you like that, go ahead and subscribe, and yeah, hopefully we can beat this Samir guy. So I took this pawn to get, or I took with the pawn to get my pawn on their side of the board. If I took with the knight there, I dropped this pawn right here. So that's the reason I didn't do that. And so what I'm seeing with my opponent is you kind of have to imagine where they're going to put all their pieces. So the bishop's going to go there. The knight's probably going to go there long term. They're going to castle kingside because they've already launched their queenside pawns forward. So just take all that into account. I could always attack this bishop with the pawn. And if it takes, we're very happy because usually a bishop is slightly better than a knight. And if they move back, well, we get a free flight square for the king, which I wanted to do anyways when I castle kingside. So you basically get a somewhat free move just for doing that. And now I need to decide where I want my bishop. That's the only thing I'm thinking right now. I could also consider going queenside. The issue with that is it's kind of risky because they have pawns kind of already launched forward over here. But it would be interesting. I could always push like g4 here. And we would have a very kind of fast-paced attacking game. Now the question is, do I want that right now? So if I go here, this is the best square to attack, but it allows him to remain in this pin. That's the downside. I could have gone here, but it's just more passive. So we're going to go here. And as expected, they bring the bishop out there. Preparing the castle right now. And I would like to pressure this pawn with this bishop. I'm heavily considering going queenside here, guys. Something like queen to e2 and castling queenside. Just so I can launch this forward and kind of have a strong attack right off the bat. Let's see. So one interesting move I have here is queen to e2. Because obviously right now this knight is pinned, so they're preparing this, which will fork these pieces. If I go queen to e2 and they take this, I also have my own pin here, so I can take this, threatening checkmate. They don't have time to take that because I checkmate right away. So they would have to probably, they do, maybe defend with this knight. I think I like this line, so I'm going to go for this, guys. And if things get too spicy on the square, I have 2 castle moves available to me, which can get my king out of the pin at any time. So that's why I'm not too worried about threats against this. Okay, so they bring the knight over there, but that doesn't stop my threat, right? I still have this move. So we're going to go ahead and play it. They can take here because I can't take back. In which case, I may end up actually castling queenside. Alright, so they're putting pressure on this bishop. A couple different moves I can play. I can obviously take, which I think I will play, just because I don't lose any time. Now I could play a bishop check because the queen can't block and it forces the knight away, which I think is probably going to be strongest. So we're going to go ahead and go for that. And I think next move I will actually trade queens because I'm going to force the king back into the center of the board by doing that. And I'm going to have to trade queens anyways because my queen's also pinned. So we're going to go ahead and take. Now I could double the pawns here via the knight if I really wanted to, but then I give his rooks an open file to look at my king. I think what I'd rather play is this to break this pin and castle queenside to defend this pawn. I want to castle queenside because it's the end game, so I'm not as big threatened by a big attack as I was before since there's no queens on the board. And I can also very easily get this rook into the game, e1. Okay, so he's walking right into a pin here, guys. So see here, if I bring my rook over, it would pin the knight. And he doesn't have another way to defend that knight. So we're going to go ahead and play that, guys. He could play here, but I just take. He takes, and then we just win the piece, right? So we should be winning a piece here, guys, and then winning the game. We're already up a pawn, and his king is right in the center of the board, so we already had that advantage going in. And yeah, should be about resigns time for my opponent. Oh. So guys, this is called a discovered attack. So any move I have with the knight, it's going to be checked, so they are forced to move their king. So if we play our knight here, attack the king, and attack this bishop at the same time. And yeah, so they're losing another piece there, guys. So let's go ahead and look at the computer evaluation to see what we can learn from, what we did right, and what we did wrong. Okay, we played with 92.2% accuracy. Looks like 2 mistakes, and thinks we played like a 2500 rated player. So let's go ahead and hop into the review. So as I was saying with this opening, I like to transition into the gambit, and I think my yesterday video was in this line. If they allow you to take the center in this line, go ahead and take it, because sometimes they'll try to undermine and force you to push d5, but typically it's actually pretty good for you, and you get a space advantage off the opening rib. Yeah, so the reason, I was heavily considering just breaking the pin with the bishop. The reason this is the best move is because I'm going to want to play this move anyways. It stops checkmating attack threats later if they move the knight here and the queen there. Say this knight's gone. and it's an overall useful move that I want to play anyways when I castle kingside, which is kind of what I was setting up until they played certain moves that made me change my mind. And if they just decide to do this, that's totally fine with me. It also forces their bishop into a suboptimal diagonal, right? Like if you look at the position now, this bishop can cover a lot of squares, right? When they move back here, well, now they cover less squares, right? So that's the reason that was the best move. Okay, and the engine said this was a mistake. It wanted me to immediately go for, I guess, g4, g5. Thinks I can just launch a quick attack right off the bat. But I played this more like traditional, I guess, style. And yeah, so here, guys, this is, if you've watched like Gotham Chess, he talks about like danger levels. This is a perfect example of that concept. So I saw like this threat of taking because the knight was pinned, but I saw I had my own threat that was stronger, which was doing this pin. It stops him from castling, right? Because I can always just take the bishop, which kept this king in the center of the board. And I set up my own threat of taking this and then checkmating. And the reason this works for me is because my threat is stronger, right? So if he takes going for my thing that I can't move, well, I take, and I'm threatening checkmate, right? He's threatening just to win a piece and win my rook, really. So my threat was stronger, which is why this was the best move. And I was confused by this move as well. I assumed he just missed our threat, which sometimes will happen even at the 2000 rated level. And just go ahead and snatch up that pawn, continue on with the plan. And yeah, so they go back. I go into this line where I keep the king in the center of the board. And the reason I push this is because if they sack now, that's okay with me. I'm okay destroying the pawn structure because there's no queens on the board. And I get the castle queenside, defend my pawn, and get my rooks into the center of the board before my opponent does. So that was my idea with that. They move here, which walked right into a pin. And I was able to exploit that and go ahead and win another piece here, the next move. So yeah, guys, if you like this type of like explanation and like thinking kind of how I do, go ahead, like, subscribe. We're gonna be posting. I'm gonna try to post every day. So yeah, you can always watch on your lunch break or something and just pick up a piece of mine, and I hope it improves your rating over time. All right, guys, peace out.